Come on!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am George Massey, and today I am going to be reviewing Power Rangers, the movie, the new movie, 2017. Now, okay, it's a little late. The movie already came out some time ago, and you might be thinking, why am I reviewing this now? Why didn't I review it when it came out? Because I only just saw it. That makes sense, doesn't it? Anyway, the reason I really want to review it is because people say it's good. I heard a lot of reviewers and online people saying, hey, this is a good movie. It's well made, it's kind of serious in tone, it's fun, it's exciting, it's nostalgic, it's a throwback to the original, it makes me feel like a child again. Well, I went to see it and I think, as usual, what are you people talking about? Honestly, seriously? Did we watch the same film? Because don't get me wrong, it was entertaining. I was entertained. It's a movie that cost $100 million. I'd be very disappointed if I was not entertained. But when it comes down to the very essence of Power Rangers, I know here I am, a bearded adult, talking about something that I once enjoyed as a very little child. But the fact is the essence I'm still very conscious of. Power Rangers was exciting, it was brightly coloured, it was fast paced, and it was uplifting, it was positive. It made me feel good, it made all of the kids who watched it feel good, it made us want to be Power Rangers.
It's morphin' time! Stegosaurus! Tyrannosaurus!
Now this movie falls into the category of the modern day cliche, the modern day dark tone that everything seems to have, because every movie and everything has to be like Batman, doesn't it? Well, let's just for 1 second look into one of the things that people say is positive about the movie. The characters, the audience says. We like the characters. They were well fleshed out. They were well-rounded human beings. No, they weren't. What are you talking about?
They did a lot of that, and they made me care about the characters.
And that's what I really enjoyed about this movie, was the connection that they all shared.
Now, all I witnessed was a bunch of depressed teenagers. What does this say about America today? That it's as if every single American teenager is somehow miserable, depressed, listless, lachrymose, and just wanting to complain about the tragedy and the banality of their own lives. These characters sit around a campfire and all we hear is, oh, my mom, we live in a trailer park and I have to give her medicine and she's the best, but she's dying and I'm so depressed. And then you get Billy and he's like, oh, my dad, he died like 2 years ago and I'm really depressed, and you know, I don't think about him all the time, but I'm really sad about it. And then there was Kimberly. Oh my god, I took a photograph and I sent the photograph to a guy and he was like, you're really horrible. And I was like, oh my god, I shouldn't have sent the photograph and my life is just coming to an end and I could totally leave this small town and never see anyone again because my life is so miserable and depressing because I sent this photograph. Scripts. And then we get Trini and she's saying, oh, my family, man, they just don't understand the fact that I'm a lesbian. Oh my god, my life is so depressing. I think I'll just go home and kill myself. So what the hell? These aren't teenagers that I want to hang around with. When I was a kid, I liked Power Rangers because I looked at those group, that cluster, that formation, that little tribe of friends, and I thought, hey, I could get down with that. I'd like to hang out with those people. But in this, I'm like, they're all fucking depressing. They're a bunch of miserable bastards. Like, who the hell thought these were the kinds of people that younger people would want to aspire to? Now, another thing about the tone that's all wrong is the colour of the movie is dark, it's moody, it's grimy, it's gritty, and it's like, that ain't the vibe. The vibe, you should almost be thinking like Skittles, rainbows almost. The Power Rangers is brightly coloured, uplifting, positive, okay? Now another thing that it has, which the movie does not have, is why has nobody complained about the music in this film? The music is so stock, modern, imitatory almost of the Batman Dark Knight soundtrack, right? Everything has to be like, and it's like, the music in Power Rangers, the show, was by Haim Saban and Shuki Levy. Very, very, very clever musicians. They are responsible for so many famous themes, children's cartoon themes like and many more. And one thing about them is they knew how to get the blood pumping. They knew how to make you feel adrenalized. They knew how to make you want to wake up in the morning and get out and go and do something and take charge and not give in to adversity, which these characters all really seem to be like the kinds of kids who really do all of that. The opposite. Life is hard. We're so miserable. We're so depressed. Why is this the modern vibe?
Better than anybody you ever seen do it. No one man should have all that power. If I take it, I just count the hours. Go, go, Power Rangers! Go, go, Power Rangers! Go, go, Power Rangers! You mighty morphin' Power Rangers!
Interestingly, the original Power Rangers also has this kind of similar Turtles vibe, which is a bunch of teenagers beating up bad guys, wisecracking and having a really good time. They're not really scared, they're not paranoid, they're not panicking, right? They're just beating up bad guys, laughing about it, saving the day, and being like, yeah, right on. It's morphin' time. Another thing about this movie that sucked was the lack of it's morphin' time. Baby, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. There's only one bit in the whole movie where the main guy Jason says it, and it's as if he doesn't want to say it. It's as if the director was embarrassed to put it into this movie because the director wanted to make a serious film. Well, listen, mate, Mr. Director, this ain't Citizen Kane, alright? This ain't Casablanca, alright? It ain't Saving Private Ryan, it's fucking Power Rangers, okay? It's not supposed to be serious. It's not supposed to make you feel all kinds of, yeah, life is hard, man. Like, no, it's supposed to make you feel good and positive and uplifting. And when someone says, it's morphin' time, you're supposed to think, yeah, this is it, we're gonna morph, it's gonna be cool, it's gonna be fun. No, instead he's like he really doesn't want to say it, like, it's morphin' time. It's like that. It's morphin' time. And you're like, is it? It doesn't sound like morphin' time. It's that's not how it's supposed to sound. It's supposed to sound a bit more ebullient and you know, vivacious and electric. You know, there's supposed to be enthusiasm behind that. You did make it the slogan, the tagline of your movie poster. It's morphin' time. But when the scene comes up, it's morphin' time. That is fucking shit. Honestly, that is such a modern day thing to take all of the energy, all of the vibe, all of the vibrancy, all of the palpable, tangible fun out of something and try and make it just raw and real, because raw and real is obviously dark, moody, sad and depressing, isn't it? Real can't ever be uplifting and positive. Fucking hell, it's so irritating. It's like, you're not allowed to have fun in movies or TV shows anymore. Everything has to be fucking depressing. It pisses me off. It's fucking Power Rangers. It's so dumb.
Awesome! Most definitely!
Then there's another thing, which is instead of the morphin dinosaur tablets that the kids carry around in the show, you know, with that we have to go and save the world now. Yeah, right on. No, none of that, right? Instead they have these rocks, these real rocks, right? Stones, glowing stones. And I can't help but look at that and think, would any kid want to play with that? Like, in all honesty, like, I never had any Power Rangers toys as a kid, and I certainly always wanted one of those beeper things. I love the idea of being like, dinosaur power, or whatever the hell it was. Tyrannosaurus! Those things were cool. They were creative, they were imaginative, they were well designed, okay? I wanted that thing as a kid, and when all the kids that I knew who liked the show also wanted it. This is just like fucking rocks. Like, it's supposed to be modern, real, more imaginative, more well thought out. But let's be honest, what's harder to design? If you're designing a show or designing a film, what's actually better? A fucking rock, right? A rock, or a crystal, right? Anyone can think of that. Or the actual original design. Okay, they don't get their suits. They're not allowed to have their suits until they connect, until they accept that they are not the most important things in the world, but in fact they as a group, as a singular entity to save the world, that is what's more important. One for all and all for one. That's the moral that this film is trying to push down your throats and hit home, and it's not a bad moral, it's badly done. I don't like the fact that they all sit around and they're like, oh my god, Billy's dead. Well, I bet he would have given his life for us. I would have given my life for us. Me too. Me too. Me too. Yeah, I would give my life as well. You're right. I would totally give my life for you, stranger who I just met 30 minutes ago on top of a big rock. What fucking bullshit is this? It's like that instead of actually putting the moral in any kind of meaningful, relatable way, the feeling I get watching it is just that these kids are like, yeah, my life is kind of meaningless, so I would totally sacrifice it for you, the group of friends. I mean, honestly, that is the vibe. There's even a bit where Billy says, almost at the end of the film, thank you for being friends with me, or thanks for being my friend. Like, how low value can you get in a human being to be like, thank you for being my friend? I mean, he says it as if he feels that it's not kind of anyone's benefit to actually be his friend. Like, I know I'm such a fucking miserable, shitty human being that I'm so grateful that you'd sacrifice any of your time and energy to spend time with me. That's not the vibe, right? The Power Rangers were supposed to be the cool kids who you wanted to hang out with, right? Who all wanted to hang around with each other. The vibe should be like, hey man, I'm so fucking cool, you should thank me that I'm your friend.
Can you talk about the Power Rangers' new look?
It is unlike any other superhero suit. These kids crystallize this armor around them.
Okay, yeah, so they don't get their suits, and then what happens is Billy jumps in to stop two of the other Power Rangers fighting, okay, and for a moment he gets into his suit and it's like, oh my god, how did you do that? And he's like, I don't know, man, I don't know. And then he goes away, and it's like, we the audience know, okay, it's because he tried to break up the fight, i.e. he got between them, he put them first, maybe he even put himself at risk. But here's the thing, why not make Jason do that? I mean, the whole thing is Jason is supposed to be the leader of the Power Rangers. He's supposed to be the one who breaks up the fight. I know it's a cliche and a stereotype, but the fact is that, you know, they say in the movie, Jason, you're the leader, okay? You're the leader. This is all up to you. This is no different to the stuff with Leonardo in Ninja Turtles. You're the leader, the responsibility is on your back. All of these kids are a little bit naive, okay? So it's up to you to be the strong central force who they can lean upon, who they can depend on, because that's what it takes to be a leader. And being a leader isn't always easy, but it's something that somebody has to do, right? But he did nothing that was like a leader at all. Like, that was just like nothing. If you're gonna at least give him a moment, give him the moment where he stops a fight between two friends and goes red for just a moment. Instead it's Billy, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, that's just stupid. Now the other thing is, that campfire bit, they're all miserable and depressed, right? All of them are just miserable and depressed. In the original, they would do almost like a Saved by the Bell thing. They would follow a kind of cliche, which is actually a bit closer to life, which is you have a group of friends, you have your buddies, and you all come together because you like seeing each other, you like spending time with each other, alright? That's why friends hang out. And then once in a while, one of your friends, or maybe even you, gets down in the dumps, gets depressed, gets sad. And the point is the group come together to make that one person feel better, and once they've made them feel better, the group is happy again. And that's more powerful, that the group come together to help the one, as opposed to the whole group are so crap, and the only way that they can potentially help each other is be like, I would totally die for you. I would totally sacrifice myself for you. So what the fuck? Who wrote that? That's a terrible reason to be friends with somebody. And then there was Billy's performance, and people are like, yeah, he gave a really great performance.
They're actually really good actors. They do a really good job in this film, especially the Blue Ranger. He was probably my favorite.
I quite liked him as the nerd, admittedly. But then in the campfire scene, if you watch it, right, he's all of a sudden like black guy stereotype, or he becomes a little bit more like Zack in the original Power Rangers. Now, Zack was fucking cool. When I was younger, Zack was my favourite by far, because of the way he'd dance, you know, he'd do like fucking Muhammad Ali style shuffles whilst he's beating up putty men, and I was like, that guy's fucking cool, I want to be like him. But anyway, in this one, Zack is the guy who lives in the trailer park who's like, woo, I'm crazy. So instead we get Billy, but Billy, even though I kind of like him in this movie, I wouldn't want to hang out with him. Like, you don't want to hang out with any of these characters. He seems like the kind of nerd who's cool and he's smart and he's respectable and you're kind of in awe of what he does, but you would be like, okay mate, like, I can't spend all day with you because this kind of relentless chasing and neediness and hey, we should hang out, and oh my god, I really like you, and we should totally like spend lots of time together, and I really love everything about you, and I'm so embarrassed about myself. I hate myself so much. Like you don't want to hang out with that guy. Let's be honest. At least the original Billy, who's just like affirmative, he's a little bit nerdy, but he's still kind of cool. You are like, I could get down with Billy. Billy's cool. All of them were cool. But then in this one, Billy's performance really changes around the campfire, and he becomes sort of like a token black guy, I want to say. Not to sound racist, because I know what the internet's like, and everyone's going to be like, oh my god, he's racist because he said the black guy acted like a black guy. Oh my god. But honestly, just watch the fucking performance, and Billy goes from being like super insecure nerd, right, who has to like line up coloured pencils on a table, to then being like, yeah man, fucking great being out here with you guys. And it's like, wait a minute, what happened to the insecure kind of geeky Billy? Like, the whole performance completely changes in that sequence. You'd expect him to maybe give up something that might explain why he is kind of nerdy, but instead he just becomes like, man, this is so much fun, I love hanging out with you guys are awesome, it's a beautiful night, man, this is all so cool, yeah man, chuck me a bud, I'm gonna sit here and have a great fucking time. Even later on in the movie, right, he gets into the Mastodon power dinosaur transformer thing, right, and he's like, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker! Yippee-ki-yay do, man, yippee-ki-yay do. And it's like, fuck, like, he becomes like black stereotype, token black guy. They were like, well, we gotta have like the token black guy, because they had the token black guy in the original Power Rangers, but we don't want him to be like playing kind of like a nerdy white guy, so halfway through the movie, we're gonna have to turn him into a token black guy. And that's kind of what he becomes like halfway through. He's like, yeah man, it's fucking great. I'm having a great time hanging out here with all y'all. He doesn't say fuck, but he says yippee-ki-yay. Getting all the John McClane on your ass. And then lastly, I'll just say, the format wasn't there. I mean, Power Rangers is sort of the easiest thing to get right in a movie, because it follows the most simple, basic, repetitive format. And it's just this very simple format that it seemed like every episode ever made followed, to the point where in the original show it was literally like watching the same fucking episode on repeat every single week, right? But it was a formula, it was a format, and it worked. And in this movie, it was like the director had never actually seen it. Like, he was just like, so they fight putty holograms, and then they fight the putty men again. Anyway, what? I'm not going to go into it. But they fucked up the format. The format didn't really work. And biggest criticism, aside from the darkness, aside from the lack of positive, fun characters who you'd want to hang out with, aside from the music, right? The actual worst thing about the film is the fights sucked. Like there was one moment, I think, the first time they fought the putty men, that was quite good. Some of the action was well choreographed, but overall the fighting was bad. Like, for a movie that cost $100 million, the TV show didn't cost $100 million, but the fighting is better in the TV show. You go back and just watch the original Power Rangers, and they're real martial artists with real choreographers doing some pretty impressive shit, right? You do watch that show and go, wow, there's some pretty cool shit in this, man. These people know how to fight. Really, this movie should have had, like, a bit of a Kill Bill flair, some Jackie Chan vibes, something where you're like, these people know how to fight. At worst, it should have been like the original first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, where those people were like fighting one-on-one. I can appreciate the technology and the CGI and all that stuff, but in the run-up to the big finale, since they obviously decided not to have models, which would have been better as far as I'm concerned, why not have some cool fights? The fights were bad. They were actually bad. There's no excuse for that. You can't have a fucking Power Rangers movie that costs $100 million with worse fights than every episode of Power Rangers that they ever made in the original series. You just can't... That's just not allowed. That's just not good enough. Honestly, those fights... Who would go back and be like, I want to watch that fight scene again? No one would ever do that because the fight scenes are crap. But in the original show, I'll be like, I want to see some of these fight scenes again. There's some cool shit in it.
Seal flying power kick!
And one more thing, just to end on it, the characters are so dumb. Like, why is it that in all modern movies, kids and all of the cast just seem like fucking morons? Some of the conversations, Mighty Moron Power Rangers, they should call this. Some of the dialogue between these kids, like Trini, you just sort of think like, she's like, oh my god, I change, I change school once every 3 years, and I'm so sad and depressed, and you're right, you're right. Life is just hard, and oh my god, read a report. You just sort of think these kids are fucking stupid, aren't they? Like, they're fucking dumb. And that's really irritating because obviously it's the writers who put that dialogue into the characters' mouths. Why don't they hire people who are semi-intelligent, to put intelligent dialogue into the mouths of younger people? You know what else I can slate about this movie? I know I was supposed to finish, but you know what else I can slate about it? Who's the target audience? Because normally you get a kids film, right, like say a Pixar film or Back to the Future or something, and these are films made for kids that adults can enjoy as well. Children's story, children fun, but well scripted enough that adults get certain jokes that kids don't get and everybody has a really good time. Now, Power Rangers, a reboot, right, bringing it back up from the dust, even though I know the show is still going, remarkably, Power Rangers is made for kids, little kids. And what they should be doing is going, well, we're going to reboot Power Rangers in the cinema for little kids, but the adults who watched it when they were kids will enjoy it. So both sides of the spectrum will enjoy this movie. And instead it was like they went, well, we're going to make it kind of dark, right? I can imagine the director like, it's going to be really dark because the original's too much for kids, so we're going to make it like Batman. And then it's like, okay, so it's going to be really serious and moody, so it's kind of too dark for little kids, right? But then it's too childish for adults, and it's too different from the original to really spark the nostalgia that you felt for it as a kid. So who the fuck is the target audience? Like, it's like somewhere in the middle. It's the tween. But honestly, if this movie is made for teenagers, right, instead of kids and instead of adults, what teenagers want to watch this? I mean, when I was a teenager, I wasn't watching stuff like this. Teenagers want to watch things like Terminator or RoboCop or Aliens. When I was a kid, I was watching things like Fight Club or The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, real movies, right? I wouldn't be a teenager being like, yeah man, we're all going to go to the cinema and we're going to watch Power Rangers. Like, you passed Power Rangers by that point. It wasn't made for you. But in this movie, it's like, okay, yes, make it dark. Make it dark so that the kids don't like it, and then we'll also make it too childish for the adults to like it. It's like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, honestly, ugh, these movies. Anyway, that aside, it wasn't the worst film I've ever seen. I did enjoy it. I was like, It's entertaining. It's washing over me. Yes, I can see all of that money, all of that gloss, all of that shine, all of that gleam up there on the screen, right? I can appreciate that, but that doesn't mean it's a good movie, right? Especially not... I'll tell you the thing. It's entertaining, okay? If I saw it as a kid, I'd be entertained by it. But I would not have been a huge Power Rangers fan as a kid if I'd have gone to see this. And I don't think any kid who'd never seen Power Rangers would run out of the cinema being like, yeah, woo, 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 I know people say, isn't it silly and isn't it dumb the way the Power Rangers had all those sound effects and everything, and it was super Japanese, even though you thought it was American, but it was actually Japanese, the fight stuff. But that's what made it good. That's what made it cool. The Japanese are very good at that stuff. They know how to animate. They knew how to build those models, right? And they created so much vibe that we as kids couldn't help but be like, I'd love to be a Power Ranger. If I was a kid and I watched this movie, I don't think there's any way that I would walk out of that cinema going, I'd love to be a Power Ranger. I'd be like, yeah, let them save the world. Because it doesn't have any of the vibe. It has no vibe. You know, it completely fails in regards to what it's supposed to be. It does not instill one with enthusiasm.
It's morphin' time! Dragon Sword!
Mastodon!
Pterodactyl!
Triceratops!
Saber-tooth tiger!
Tyrannosaurus!
Anyway, that's Power Rangers. I gotta go and save the world. We need Mastodon power now!
They're too strong!
We can't keep up! We've got to find their weak spot!